I'd like to start the special studies, exec session at 4:30 on August 13, 2019. May I have a motion?
This is for you.
Madam Chair, I move that we go into executive session per se of statute.
May I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Oh, yes. It is CRS 24-6-402, parentheses 4B, legal advice, board to conference with an attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific matters. And may I have roll call?
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Trump?
Aye.
Has third level, but it doesn't give any information.
No,
So,
that's
but-
all it ever is.
Yeah.
I just,
Yes, I did see it. I think I saw beginning and middle and. I have a first grader, and a second grader. Yeah, no, it's just cumulative, right? Yeah, I saw that.
Si alguien necesita intérprete,
It's okay, thank you.
¿alguien necesita intérprete?
Ay, tengo que ir al baño.
Is it the recognitions, middle?
It's only
and
recognition.
Only one.
Yeah.
Now you get to chew her out now, huh?
Let me look. Let me look. Sorry.
Thank you, Harvest. Thank you.
Welcome, Dave.
When did you go put your signs up? Or Jennifer's signs?
I think it was, Saturday morning?
Saturday morning?
I think it was in there, or it was in the afternoon, you had company.
What was that?
I think you had company or something, I don't know.
Saturday morning. No.
I'd like to bring the regular meeting to order on August 13th, 2019 at 6:40. May we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then a moment of silence. And keep in mind, we had several people that have passed that worked here for many years. One of them was Lester Pancratz. He dedicated 30 years of service to Adams 14. Wayne Knox, who dedicated 27 years to Adams 14, and also I think he was a senator. And then we had a teacher recently, I believe she passed now in August, Betty Rowe, and I believe she spent most of her time at Kearney. So when we have a moment of silence, just think about them and the families. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Monica, may I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Martinez? Mr. Moreno?
Here.
Mrs. Quintana?
Here.
Mr. Rolla?
Here.
Mr. Thomas?
Here.
I'd like to have approval of the minutes for June 11th, 2019, and can I put them all together, June 25th, 2019?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the meeting minutes of June 11th, 2019, and June 25th, 2019.
May I have a motion?
Second. Madam Chair, I second the minutes for June 11th, 2019, and June 29th, 2019.
Roll call, Monica?
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
I'd like to have approval of, a motion for the approval of the agenda. And we need to pull, change, on 214, we need to change the language from social worker to speech and language. And then we need to pull 2.4.
Madam Chair, I move to amend the meeting agenda for business item 2.14, striking the language,
And putting the speech and language. So-
striking the language of the social worker language and inserting fully licensed speech language pathologist. And I move to amend the agenda to strike item 2.4.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second.
Discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to,
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the amended agenda.
second,
Madam Chair, I second the amended agenda.
roll call, Monica?
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to recognitions and celebrations. I believe it's Mr. Poynton?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and members of the board. I'm going to request 60 seconds to set up the video. While we're waiting for that, let me say that last Friday at the Impacto de Fe Church, we had an all-employee welcome back rally. And we had about 800 people attend. In addition to our employees, we had members from our community partners as well there. We had Kids First, and we had individuals from law enforcement. We had individuals from the Rotary Club and a number of other groups, also the State Board and the Colorado Department of Education was also in attendance. And it was a great day, and I think we have a short video to show you. Are we ready to go?
Yes, we are.
Thank you, Cameron. hope that gives you a little sense of the enthusiasm that was in the room last Friday. We started planning this event on May 31st, and our goals, and there was a team of Adams 14 employees planning this, a great group of people, but our guiding intentions were to demonstrate unity, inspiration, and to have fun, and I truly believe that we achieved all of those goals. As you can see by the presentation, our keynote speaker was Dr. Harry Bull, and it was very inspiring. Thank you very much, Dr. Bull. It was a great afternoon. So we're grateful to everyone that was present and everyone that was involved in the planning, and I think we can all be proud that we had a great start.
Thank you. Moving on to audience comments, and I have Sheila Harris. Come up and just give your name, not your address, and who you are for, where you're from.
Good evening, Board. I'm Sheila Harris on behalf of the Commerce City Historical Society Board. Today we're here tonight for two reasons. The first reason is to give you a deck of cards. This is our historic cards project. It took us over 2 years to complete, and now we have the cards done. We're giving you each a deck of cards because you sponsored one of the cards. We thank you for the ongoing support for the Historical Society. The second reason is that we want to publicly tell you, the board and other administrators and GMT, that we support the new leadership and the new plan that has been put in place. We would like to encourage the community partners and leaders to get behind this new time now for Adams 14. As Dr. Bull said to us, it takes a village, and the families, the community, city organizations, and nonprofit and businesses are the village. We, like everyone else in the community, has been watching, and we too gave up, but we're back now. We also like the message we hear. We like what we see, and we're excited to start this new year and the new chapter of Adams 14. We are encouraged and believe that this new plan will create clarity, trust, encourage people to work together. We want to save our school district and create a healthy organization. We hope that all of the other community partners will back as well. We thank you. You do have our support with the Commerce City Historical Society, and the time is now. And this is on the board of directors.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When I was getting these, I went to Bob, one from Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up, I would like to have the superintendent's report, beginning of a school year update.
That's not on the agenda. It's not on the agenda.
The superintendent's report is always a good thing to do every month. One of the things that I do just want to briefly say is that we have gotten off to a really good start. It was great for district office staff to spend time joining our principals and others at the beginning of the school day on our first day of school. And there was a lot of excitement with children walking in our doors. And I think, as our last speaker said, we are having a sense of excitement about the change and the things that are coming forward. I think it's going to be a good school year.
Dr. Harry Bull.
Just briefly, I should slide over so you can hear me. I know. Just briefly, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to the parents and the students of this community. They were wonderful in bringing their children to school, and there was a very, very positive energy. I want to thank the staff and the teachers the work that they put in and the work to the opening, the leadership of the building, the leadership of the district, and of course, I want to thank the Board of Education. I've never been to an opening in Adams 14. This was my first one, and I have to share with you that I am very impressed with the effort, the work, and the sense of teamwork that seems to be emanating from all of the different locations, including the Board of Education. So I'm excited about the opening, and I just want to say thank you to the entire community.
Thank you. Moving on to routine items. 1.0 personnel. 1.1, I'd like to have a motion to approve 1.1.
Madam Chair, I move to approve item 1.1.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second.
Any discussion?
Thank you,
Senator.
Madam Chair. Just one, I noticed there's one resignation on this agenda that I'm really sad about, and that's my third grade teacher, or fourth grade, actually, Miss Dolores Bodkin is
Yes.
finally retiring from the district. Wish her well. I mentioned this before, but I used to get extra credit from giving daily reports on Days of Our Lives. She was a wonderful teacher and definitely had an incredible impact on the kids in this district.
And I knew her because she was the girlfriend to the young man that lived across the street from me. So that's how far back we go. Good job.
I'd like to congratulate her also. She was one of my students all through high school, and she was an ornery little girl, but she was turned out to be a great teacher. So I hope everything goes well for her.
Thank you, Dolores. May we have roll call, Monica?
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to business, 1.1, Superintendent's recommendation. Approval to accept the Gifted Education Universal Screening and Qualified Personnel Grant, to support gifted and talented identification and programming from the Colorado Department of Education. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve item 1.1 under grants.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second item 1.1.
Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Monica?
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 2.1, Superintendent's recommendation. Approval of 2019-2020 calendar of the Board of Education meetings and posting locations. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve item 2.1.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second item 2.1.
Discussion?
I had a question. I know that it says there that we were going to meet November 26th. If I recall correctly, that's when we have fall break.
Monica, do you know?
It is during fall break.
Are we still meeting during fall break?
We can,
What was the date?
November 26th?
Madam Chair, I would suggest the board has the opportunity to amend that at this point, should you choose. In the past, my understanding is students were off
3 days.
3 days, and now they're off the entire week. So I think it's up to the board to make that decision. But timing would be good tonight to be able to communicate that to the community.
Okay, so should we just
Amend it?
amend it? Okay.
Madam Chair, I move to
So-
amend the previous motion to strike the November 26th meeting date from the proposed Board of Education meeting dates.
Do I have a second on that?
second.
Roll call?
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla,
Aye.
Mr. Thomas.
Aye.
Moving on to 2.2.
Madam Chair,
Oh.
I now renew my motion for the amended item.
Roll call.
Well, there should be a second. So you
Second.
had a,
That's
was there
me.
a second before you made the motion to amend? I
Yeah,
take that
'cause
back.
we had
Okay,
dis-
sorry. So yes, you can proceed to a vote now. Thank you.
Roll call. Monica?
Ms. Martinez,
Aye.
Mr. Moreno,
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana.
Aye.
Mr. Rolla,
Aye.
Mr. Thomas.
Aye.
Moving on to 2.2, Superintendent's recommendation. Approval to accept intergovernmental agreement between Adams County Clerk and the Recorder and Adams 14 for the November 5th, 2019 coordinated election. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve item 2.2.
Madam Chair, I second.
Any discussion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just one quick question, and I appreciate the intergovernmental agreement, the language that was provided. What I couldn't necessarily find was the rough estimate of the cost of the coordinated election. Do we have that?
It's not within the agreement, but typically it's around 20 to 25,000.
Thank you.
How much did you say?
Because it's a cost per voter.
Roll call?
Ms. Martinez,
Aye.
Mr. Moreno,
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana,
Aye.
Mr. Rolla,
Aye.
Mr. Thomas.
Aye.
Move it.
We can get an exact cost for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
2.3, Superintendent's recommendation, approval for in-state overnight travel to Vail, Colorado for the collaboration and professional development with the Department of Labor and Employment at the Think Big Conference on August 26th through the 27th, 2019. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve item 2.3.
May I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Monica?
Ms. Martinez,
Aye.
Mr. Moreno,
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana,
Aye.
Mr. Rolla,
Aye.
Mr. Thomas.
Aye.
Moving on to 2.5, Superintendent's recommendation, approval to purchase licensing for, can I say NEC, NEC? Phone systems, district-wide. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve item 2.5.
Second, please.
Madam Chair, I second item 2.5.
Roll call, Monica, please. Oh, discussion?
Yes, I remember that earlier in the month, I think we received an email saying that the new vendor wasn't, something with this, with the, wasn't able to do the intercom building specific. Is it required for them to purchase this hardware? Like, they don't have it as part of their services?
And this is Mr. Staley.
Brandon Steele, Manager of Technology Services. So the email that you received was to clarify the issue that we'd had. We had a building all call that was sent out, and it went district-wide.
Mhm.
So what we had to do in working with this particular vendor was not purchase additional hardware, but to change the licensing structure so that each building is its own separate phone system as opposed to a district phone system. And the reason for that is basically building notifications. Okay, yeah, and we do still have a district-wide system, but each building is able to individually page their building. Does that make sense? Okay.
So what was the difference again?
So the system that we have installed is able to do a centralized communication and control. The additional licensing allows each individual building to page individually as opposed to going district-wide. So the system is capable of doing both, but we had to isolate each individual building. So when an all call goes into a building, They'll only notify their building.
Okay. Thank you.
So I know you said that you were still able to do all buildings. How would the staff be able to distinguish between just their building and district-wide, or would they not be allowed to do that?
They won't be able to do district
Okay.
from their location. That would only be accessible from here. And then on their individual building, or in their individual building, there's a button specific for their building. Okay.
Thank you.
Roll call, Monica?
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 2.6, Superintendent's recommendation, approval to contract with Tech Systems to fill vacant technology service positions. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 2.6.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second.
Discussion?
I had a
Go ahead.
question again. I know it says here that the reason why you want to contract this staffing company is because you want to fill a technology position that wasn't fulfilled during the traditional manner. My question is, until when do you plan on contracting them? Is there a time frame?
So this would, typically what we would try and do is a contract to hire. So we would bring someone on for a short period of time. If we find that they're a good fit for the team in the district, then we would look to bring that person on full-time after that.
And while they're doing the contract to hire, will you still be actively seeking outside, or you're just going to stop once you do the contract to hire?
Absolutely. We actually have interviews scheduled for this week, even though we're still looking to put this contract into place. So if we can fill the position before we even start the contracted position, we would do that. And then we'll continue to look. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. So the contract also, by the way, is limited, so it's just a one-year contract. There wouldn't be any extension beyond that.
So when you, if you're able to fill it, are you going to actively be seeking during the contract or just before the contract takes effect?
I think as we're doing the short term, the contract to hire part, we would continue to accept applications until we reach that point where we identify an individual either via tech systems or through our hiring process that we feel comfortable moving forward with. So if we're 2 months into this contract with tech systems and that person that's working in the district is a really good fit, then we would stop looking externally and we would move forward with that.
And you'd break the contract, or you'd end the contract?
We'd basically buy that contract out, yeah. There's in the contract, and Mr. Farrow's reviewed it, there's a fee that, basically a finder's fee that's associated with that to buy out the contract.
How much is that? Sorry.
Do you recall? I don't have it in.
Y'all set that, I don't know.
Okay, I don't have it in front of me, but I think it goes down dependent upon how long we carry that person in that contract. But we can get the language for you if you need it.
Okay.
It's not a set dollar value, I can tell you that. It's based upon the
Prorated?
the final salary that's negotiated. So,
Okay. Thank you.
Monica, roll call, please.
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 2.7, Superintendent's recommendation, approval to purchase Go Guardian Classroom Management. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 2.7.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second item 2.7.
Discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 2.8, Superintendent's recommendation, approval to purchase Playworks for Camp Elementary for the 2019-2020 school year. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 2.8.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second item 2.8.
Discussion? Seeing none, Monica, roll call.
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 2.9, superintendent's recommendation, approval to purchase professional development and coaching supports from West Ed for Adams City High School. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 2.9.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second item 2.9.
Discussion? Seeing none. Monica, roll call.
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 2.10, superintendent's recommendation, approval to purchase the Homies Unidos intervention program for the 2019-2020 school year. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 2.10.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second item 2.10.
Discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 2.11, superintendent's recommendation, approval to purchase Apex Learning Incorporation, intervention services and credit recovery programs for Adams City High School. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 2.11.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second item 2.11.
Discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Monica?
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 2.12, superintendent's recommendation, approval to amend the amount spent to purchase resources from Zayner Blosser. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 2.12.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second.
Discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 2.13, superintendent's recommendation, approval to contract with ABS Enterprise Latitude. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 2.13.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second item 2.13.
Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Monica?
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
And right now, we did that. We're gonna talk about communications. 2.14, oh yes, we changed the language on that. 2.14, superintendent's recommendation, approval to contract with New Directions Solution, DBA ProCare Therapy for professional services of the fully licensed speech and language pathology. May I have a,
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 2.14 as amended earlier in the agenda.
may I have a second?
I second, Madam Chair, 2.14 in the agenda.
Discussion. Seeing none. Roll call?
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
I would like to, can I get a consensus to approve purchasing light meals for board meeting nights? Any discussion on it?
No, to be fed.
So can we have a motion on that? To do that?
Madam Chair, I'll move to approve the purchase of light meals for board meetings, on board meeting dates.
Yeah.
Just gotten so used to candy and crackers, but
It's really hard for us when we, and like you too, but when we come in so early and there's no nutrition, we could be faint up here. So we had changed that, about 3 or 4 years ago, and now we're trying to bring it back because we spend a lot of times in these meetings. So, can we have a second?
Madam Chair, I second that.
Is everybody okay? No discussion? Monica, can I have a roll call?
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
So, we're at the end of the meeting. And anybody have any communications of things they did? I would like to say, we had a month off and just trying to get back in, I'm gonna call it in the groove. It's gonna be challenging for me, you know. I'm one of those senior citizens up there, so please bear with me. But we had a very good summer off, I believe. And now it's time to get back to work. Our EMO's been here the whole time. And they've been working hard, and they will continue to work hard for us and our children. So that's what I would have to say.
I just want to.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to recognize our Hanson staff and our principal, because the way they welcome those students on the first day of school makes me want to go back to elementary school and walk on the red carpet. So thank you, and thank you to all of the other staff members and the other and
Please
teachers.
stand up.
I don't think they're
Hanson
here.
staff members.
Yeah, I don't think they're here.
No?
But
But I think we have Kemp here. We have the high school here. We have DuPont. Who else? So welcome back. I'm glad
Yeah.
you're here because it's the first week of school, and just being there all day, you know, is very stressful, getting back in the groove. But welcome back. I hope everything will go good this year. I'm looking forward to it, actually, so.
thank you. Thank you for everything you do, what you're doing.
Well, I'll just, thank you, Madam Chair. I'll just say, welcome back to all the staff, the teachers, the students. Looking forward to another great school year. Welcome to MGT. Thank you for the work that you've been doing over the last couple months to get us ready for the next school year. You know, although the board had the summer off, I hope for our students it was a summer on. I hope they didn't use that time just to play video games and watch TV, that they are actually studying up for the next school year, because you know, that summer slide is a real thing, and so hopefully they were still working, still reading, and improving their skills. So looking forward to another good school year. You know, if Miss Mittler's listening, I await my invitation to come talk to the government classes at Adams City High School. That's probably one of the favorite things I do all year. Looking forward to that again.
Thank you. Mr. Thomas?
Yeah. I had the opportunity Friday, August the 9th, to visit Adams City High School orientation. I'd like to thank Ms. Maldonado, Ms. Jeffers, Dr. Laura Avias, Ms. Fox, and I'm not sure that I missed somebody, the new gentleman we just, I believe. Richie, okay. I just want to give them a big kudos, because with 400 plus freshmen walking around there, it was nice to see about 30 seniors doing the orientation with them, walking them around, showing them classes, giving them the atmosphere was nice for me to be there for 8 o'clock to 12, and I ate lunch with the students, so it was a great morning. So I just want to thank all the high school staff for putting in that hard work and making sure that was very successful, so thank you.
Mr. Rowland?
I'd just like to say welcome back. I hope you're excited to start a new year, because we always want to be excited when we get started. As Dr. Bull said in his statement, is have the right attitude. Wake up every morning with that positive attitude that it's good to go to Adams District 14 to work with our students. I also like to thanks Mr. Rodriguez, because it's been 5 years since we asked for the parking lot to be paved at Adams City High School. But I guess for every good, there's a bad, and the bad was that when they paved it, I was there for some meetings, and when I came out, it was 90 degrees outside, and when I got on that blacktop, it jumped up to 130. I thought I was in Las Vegas or Phoenix. But at least it looks nice. And
Thank
thank you,
you.
sir, for finally getting it done. Next, I would like to, as Mr. Thomas said, is I attended the orientation or the little rally for the freshmen, and I'd like to condemn or say thanks to the administrators at the high school, because they did a super job as they addressed the freshmen. Some there that was pretty neat that I thought is after they got done talking to the students, all the staff, teachers, administrators went and made the bridge, as though I thought the freshmen were getting married or something, because in the Spanish, the Mexican culture, when you have a wedding, you always have the march, and one of the marches is you have a bridge, and so everybody walks through, the freshmen walk through, and it was exciting to see those freshmen. They were all doing such a great job, and I hope that they're enjoying their time there. And then like to say thanks for the district and MGT setting up a table for our community outreach. I think it was great for the parents to begin to see us again, to be out there to ask questions. And I don't know how many questions they were asking, but every time I saw Dr. Bull, he was BSing with somebody. I don't know if it was about school or what, but he was out there, and Mr. Peterson was out there talking and everything. He looked good in his baseball cap and stuff, and he was out there, and I'm glad they did such a good job. And the community was out there also. I seen Dr. Poynton out there talking to the community, and this is what we need, because one of the things we've been talking about is the trust in this community. And the only way you'll get the trust is if they see us out there in the community and we listen to them. The last thing, because I've attended a bunch of things here, is that I would like to pay kudos to Dr. Poynton and Dale. Where's Dale at?
He left.
Because I know the board, with the exception of Laura and myself, we were at the rally, and they really put on a good show. I think it's something they done. They tried to be Heckle and Jekyll. I don't know what, the Smother Brothers or something. But they did a good job. And as you looked at the film there, or the slides there, you see that they had Dale got to wear the jacket at 100 degrees in that place, and Dr. Point got to wear a jersey. And I'm going to ask you, whose number did you have on there? Do you know? Of course. That was softball number, but again, it was, God, now I forgot. The first African-American player. Oh, God. Jackie Robinson's number. And I said, wow, that's really interesting that he's wearing Jackie Robinson's number. So there, and then all the things that they did, and I think it really made our staff welcome. It was good to see the elementaries and the middle schools and the high school all dressed in their school colors. And they had their balloons, and they were yelling and going a little crazy, and it was good to see that. I'd like to say that, as I mentioned earlier, Dr. Bull did give an inspiring speech where it almost made me want to come back to teach, but it only took 30 seconds to realize, no, you don't want to go there. So he did a super job, and I'm glad that this is what we need to get our staff going. And I think when it was all said and done, the staff was happy that it's happened. And I've been to a couple schools since that. I went to the opening of the high school and been to Kearney, and students are really seem like they're glad to be back in school. And so hopefully everything will rub off, and that's what we need, is for our students to be excited. They got to have a reason to come to school. And once they have that reason to come, I guarantee they're going to learn. So we got to just keep it interesting for them to keep coming and wanting to learn. That's it for me.
Thank you. I forgot to mention Connie Bonnell is sitting in the back. She currently is the president of DAC. So welcome back, Connie. I hope you're feeling good. Better, I will say, better. So thank you. And I think that's it.
And just want to remind everybody that there is a DAC meeting
Tomorrow.
in the community room here at 6 p.m. So we'd
Are they
love
having them here now?
5:30 for dinner and then
You wanna
6 is
come
the
up?
meeting. But it'd be a great opportunity to get
Let
everybody.
Connie.
Yes, I'd like to invite everyone that can come to the DAC meeting this will be the earliest I think we've ever started DAC in August. We want to get as many people on board as we can this year. We have some agenda items that we need to look at, and I'm just excited about this new year. I'm excited about MGT being here. I hope we can meet with MGT. We're meeting with the board. I am excited about that also. We're going to do that quarterly. So I think we're going to have an absolutely awesome year.
I do too. Thank you. And we shall adjourn at 7:26. Thank you. As my mother used to say, "Ya acabamos."